Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. Be sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. Or you can follow the show on YouTube, where we have playlists for all the stories. You can find us on all the social medias at Bite at a Time Books, or on our website, biteatatimebooks.com, where you can also sign up for our newsletter for more information on what we're reading and what's coming next for the podcasts. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic author to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, Tuesdays, wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be continuing The Return of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. The Adventure of the Golden Pince-Nez. Bite 2.
"It has been pouring rain and blowing a hurricane ever since," said he. "It will be harder to read now than that palimpsest. Well, it can't be helped. What did you do, Hopkins, after you had made certain that you had made certain of nothing?"
"I think I made certain of a good deal, Mr. Holmes. I knew that someone had entered the house cautiously from without. I next examined the corridor. It is lined with coconut matting, and had taken no impression of any kind. This brought me into the study itself. It is a scantily furnished room. The main article is a large writing table with a fixed bureau. This bureau consists of a double column of drawers, with a central small cupboard between them. The drawers were open, the cupboard locked. The drawers, it seems, were always open, and nothing of value was kept in them. There were some papers of importance in the cupboard, but there were no signs that this had been tampered with, and the professor assures me that nothing was missing. It is certain that no robbery has been committed. I come now to the body of the young man. It was found near the bureau, and just to the left of it, as marked upon that chart. The stab was on the right side of the neck, and from behind forward, so that it is almost impossible that it could have been self-inflicted."
"Unless he fell upon the knife," said Holmes.
"Exactly. The idea crossed my mind, but we found the knife some feet away from the body, so that seems impossible. Then, of course, there are the man's own dying words, and finally there was this very important piece of evidence which was found clasped in the dead man's right hand."
From his pocket, Stanley Hopkins drew a small paper packet. He unfolded it and disclosed a golden pince-nez with 2 broken ends of black silk cord dangling from the end of it.
"Willoughby Smith had excellent sight," he added. "There can be no question that this was snatched from the face or the person of the assassin."
Sherlock Holmes took the glasses into his hand and examined them with the utmost attention and interest. He held them on his nose, endeavored to read through them, went to the window and stared up the street with them, looked at them most minutely in the full light of the lamp, and finally, with a chuckle, seated himself at the table and wrote a few lines upon a sheet of paper which he tossed across to Stanley Hopkins.
"That's the best I can do for you," said he. "It may prove to be of some use."
The astonished detective read the note aloud. It ran as follows.
"Wanted, a woman of good address, attired like a lady. She has a remarkably thick nose, with eyes which are set close upon either side of it. She has a puckered forehead, a peering expression, and probably rounded shoulders. There are indications that she has had recourse to an optician at least twice during the last few months, as her glasses are of remarkable strength, and as opticians are not very numerous, there should be no difficulty in tracing her."
Holmes smiled at the astonishment of Hopkins, which must have been reflected upon my features.
"Surely my deductions are simplicity itself," said he. "It would be difficult to name any articles which afford a finer field for inference in a pair of glasses, especially so remarkable a pair as these. That they belong to a woman, I infer from their delicacy, and also, of course, from the last words of the dying man. As to her being a person of refinement and well-dressed, they are, as you perceive, handsomely mounted in solid gold, and it is inconceivable that anyone who wore such glasses could be slatternly in other respects. You will find that the clips are too wide for your nose, showing that the lady's nose is very broad at the base. This sort of nose is usually a short and coarse one, but there is a sufficient number of exceptions to prevent me from being dogmatic, or from insisting upon this point in my description. My own face is a narrow one, and yet I find that I cannot get my eyes into the center, nor near the center of these glasses. Therefore the lady's eyes are set very near to the sides of the nose. You will perceive, Watson, that the glasses are concave and of unusual strength. A lady whose vision has been so extremely contracted all her life is sure to have the physical characteristics of such vision, which are seen in the forehead, the eyelids, and the shoulders.
Yes, I said. I can follow each of your arguments. I confess, however, that I am unable to understand how you arrive at the double visit to the optician. Holmes took the glasses in his hand.
You will perceive, he said, that the clips are lined with tiny bands of cork to soften the pressure upon the nose. One of these is discolored and worn to some slight extent, but the other is new. Evidently one has fallen off and been replaced. I should judge that the older of them has not been there more than a few months. They exactly correspond, so I gathered that the lady went back to the same establishment for the second.
By George, it's marvelous, cried Hopkins in an ecstasy of admiration. To think that I had all that evidence in my hand and never knew it. I had intended, however, to go the round of the London opticians.
Of course you would. Meanwhile, have you anything more to tell us about the case?
Nothing, Mr. Holmes. I think that you know as much as I do now. Probably more. We have had inquiries made as to any stranger seen on the country roads, or at the railway station. We have heard of none. What beats me is the utter want of all object in the crime. Not a ghost of a motive can anyone suggest.
Ah, there I am not in a position to help you. But I suppose you want us to come out tomorrow.
If it is not asking too much, Mr. Holmes. There's a train from Charing Cross to Chatham at 6 in the morning, and we should be at Yoxfield Place between 8 and 9.
Then we shall take it. Your case has certainly some features of great interest, and I shall be delighted to look into it. Well, it's nearly 1, and we had best get a few hours' sleep. I dare say you can manage all right on the sofa in front of the fire. I'll light my spirit lamp and give you a cup of coffee before we start.
The gale had blown itself out next day. But it was a bitter morning when we started upon our journey. We saw the cold winter sun rise over the dreary marshes of the Thames, and the long, sullen reaches of the river, which I shall ever associate with our pursuit of the Andaman Islander in the earlier days of our career. After a long and weary journey, we alighted at a small station some miles from Chatham. While a horse was being put into a trap at the local inn, we snatched a hurried breakfast, and so we were all ready for business when we at last arrived at Yoxfield Place. A constable met us at the garden gate. Well, Wilson, any news?
No, sir, nothing.
No reports of any stranger seen?
No, sir. Down at the station, they're certain that no stranger either came or went yesterday.
Have you had inquiries made at inns and lodgings?
Yes, sir. There is no one that we cannot account for.
Well, it's only a reasonable walk to Chatham. Anyone might stay there or take a train without being observed. This is the garden path of which I spoke, Mr. Holmes. I'll pledge my word there was no mark on it yesterday.
On which side were the marks on the grass?
This side, sir. This narrow margin of grass between the path and the flower bed. I can't see the traces now, but they were clear to me then.
Yes, someone has passed along, said Holmes, stooping over the grass border. Our lady must have picked her steps carefully, must she not, since on the one side she would leave a track on the path, and on the other an even clearer one on the soft bed.
Yes, sir, she must have been a cool hand.
I saw an intent look pass over Holmes's face. You say that she must have come back this way?
Yes, sir, there's no other.
On this strip of grass?
Certainly, Mr. Holmes.
It was a very remarkable performance. Very remarkable. Well, I think we've exhausted the path. Let us go farther. This garden door is usually kept open, I suppose. Then this visitor had nothing to do but to walk in. The idea of murder was not in her mind, or she would have provided herself with some sort of weapon, instead of having to pick this knife off the writing table. She advanced along this corridor, leaving no traces upon the coconut matting. Then she found herself in this study. How long was she there? We have no means of judging.
No more than a few minutes, sir. I forgot to tell you that Mrs. Marker, the housekeeper, had been in there tidying not very long before. About a quarter of an hour, she says.
Well, that gives us a limit. Our lady enters this room, and what does she do? She goes over to the writing table. What for? Not for anything in the drawers. If there had been anything worth her taking, it would surely have been locked up. No. It was for something in that wooden bureau. Hello. What is that scratch upon the face of it? Just hold a match, Watson. Why did you not tell me of this, Hopkins?
The mark which he was examining began upon the brasswork on the right-hand side of the keyhole and extended for about 4 inches, where it had scratched the varnish from the surface.
I noticed it, Mr. Holmes, but you'll always find scratches round a keyhole.
This is recent. Quite recent. See how the brass shines where it is cut. An old scratch would be the same color as the surface. Look at it through my lens. There's the varnish, too, like earth on each side of a furrow. Is Mrs. Marker there?
A sad-faced elderly woman came into the room.
Did you dust this bureau yesterday morning?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice this scratch?
No, sir, I did not.
I am sure you did not, for a duster would have swept away these shreds of varnish. Who has the key of this bureau?
The professor keeps it on his watch chain.
Is it a simple key?
No, sir, it is a Chubb's key.
Very good. Mrs. Marker, you can go. Now we are making a little progress. Our lady enters the room, advances to the bureau, and either opens it or tries to do so. While she is thus engaged, young Willoughby Smith enters the room. In her hurry to withdraw the key, she makes this scratch upon the door. He seizes her, and she, snatching up the nearest object, which happens to be this knife, strikes at him in order to make him let go his hold. The blow is a fatal one. He falls and she escapes, either with or without the object for which she has come. Is Susan the maid there? Could anyone have got away through that door after the time that you heard the cry, Susan?
No, sir, it is impossible. Before I got down the stair, I'd have seen anyone in the passage. Besides, the door never opened, or I would have heard it.
That settles this exit. Then no doubt the lady went out the way she came. I understand that this other passage leads only to the professor's room. There is no exit that way.
No, sir.
We shall go down it and make the acquaintance of the professor. Hello, Hopkins. This is very important indeed. The professor's corridor is also lined with coconut matting.
Well, sir, what of it?
Don't you see any bearing upon the case? Well, I don't insist upon it. No doubt I'm wrong, and yet it seems to me to be suggestive. Come with me and introduce me.
We passed down the passage, which was of the same length as that which led to the garden. At the end was a short flight of steps ending in a door. Our guide knocked and then ushered us into the professor's bedroom. It was a very large chamber, lined with innumerable volumes which had overflowed from the shelves and lay in piles in the corners, or were stacked all round at the base of the cases. The bed was in the center of the room, and in it, propped up with pillows, was the owner of the house. I have seldom seen a more remarkable-looking person. It was a gaunt, aquiline face which was turned towards us, with piercing dark eyes which lurked in deep hollows under overhung and tufted brows. With piercing dark eyes which lurked in deep hollows under the overhung and tufted brows. His hair and beard were white, save that the latter was curiously stained with yellow around his mouth. A cigarette glowed amid the tangle of white hair, and the air of the room was fetid with stale tobacco smoke. As he held out his hand to Holmes, I perceived that it was also stained with yellow nicotine. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you join us tomorrow for the next bite of The Return of Sherlock Holmes. If you enjoyed our show, be sure to follow us so you get all the new episodes. We would also love for you to drop us a rating on your favorite podcast platform. You can catch us on all the social medias at Bite at a Time Books, or check out our website, biteatatimebooks.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter. Our show is part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you would also like to hear about the authors who write the books we read on the show, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, or on biteatatimebooksbehindthestory.com.